So when I started the project, the anti-barking ultrasonic, I wasn't sure how effective it would be, so I didn't get all carried away with speaker enclosure. So originally, I just used Galfer's tape and black tape and just wrapped that speaker. You see a screw there. I had it screwed to a 2x4 that's about 3 feet above the fence line. And it's been up there for, two of them have been up there for 10 months, and one finally failed. So it actually worked really good, even though it looks crappy. But that guy has been up there for 10 months, and one of the two had failed. So this is my updated one. The wait for a reason to go do it. So plastic enclosure, a couple weep holes, a few weep holes in case water or moisture gets in there and can drain out. Screw that. I'm gonna screw that to the pole or the post. This is kind of one of the boxes look like. I don't know if the cover, that one broke. But how I knew that there was a problem with the two speakers is the amp draw got dropped in half. So it went from about 8 amps down to 4 amps. And once I checked everything inside, I knew it was the one of the speakers, because when you take two 4-ohm speakers and parallel them together, it becomes 2 ohms. And of course, the current draw doubles, as well as the output power from the amplifier. So if you're putting out 40 watts at 4 ohms on a single speaker, and then you add a second one in parallel, it'll double that, as well as the current draw. So I looked at the meter, and I could see the meter that's on the power supply, or the meter that's on the amplifier. It has an amp meter on it. I could see something was wrong. So anyway, confirmed it was a bad speaker. So now I'm going to go ahead and update it. But I also have some videos of me testing these to make sure it works here just a little bit later in this video. But anyway, it's nothing fancy, just a plastic enclosure, little bracket I put on there so I can screw it to a 2x4. Okay, here's 2 pile speakers in the enclosures. I'm going to mount those up here soon. I got the dB meter. I turned off the relay delay, so you'll hear it power up. I want to see what it shows up on dB. I got the amplifier set for about 80 watts. We'll see what happens. It always wear earplugs when you're playing with the high power stuff. It's very loud. So there's, looking at the meter, 120 dB was the max when it powered up. That's incredibly loud. I think that can cause ear problems. You definitely want to be wearing earplugs, but that's interesting. It's a loud one. Okay, same experiment as last time, except this time I unhooked one of the speakers, just one speaker. I'm thinking it should be 3 to 6 dB less, but we'll see. Here we go. So that came in with just one speaker when it powered up, 110 dB. So it was 10 dB less for peak on the power up, one speaker versus 2. So just kind of experimenting around here. Tore that bad speaker apart, and I found that the Orion voice coils, they look identical. So these things come apart on the pile. How these come apart on the piles, you get 4 screws there that releases the horn, and then there's like one Phillips screw in the back there that releases the cone. But this is a Orion voice coil, and this one here is the actual pile voice coil that I pulled out of there. That's bad. The only difference between the two is that they have a little plastic spacer, a little spacer right there that goes on the base there. Get that guy out. I'll break it. Let me see another one here. This little plastic spacer that sits in there. Goes the other way. But that's it. That's really the only difference. And I put the Orion voice coil in there, and I compared it with a stock pile. It was getting the same output. So there's a possibility you can actually, you can rebuild these things using the Orion voice coils. However, the Orion voice coils is about $35, and of course the pile speakers are, depending where you get them from, are anywhere between $35 and $40. So you're kind of getting to a push. But if it ever gets to a point where Pile quits making these speakers, you can just buy the Orion voice coils, and they look to go in there. One tip, if you're going to put it in there, when you get the Orion voice coils, and the capacitors aren't soldered to it, so you got to solder it to it, and we got to solder it right there. But when you solder it, just get in there real quick and hit it and solder it with not super high heat, because otherwise you will melt this plastic piece here. And trust me, I've done it before, and I've done a lot of soldering over my course of my lifetime here. So I'm not like a newbie with soldering, and it even got me on that one. So I lost one of them just because I just spent a little too much time with the solder on there, and that heated up that plastic piece. It's very fragile. So just heat up your soldering iron, just get in there, just hit it real quick and get out. You shouldn't have a problem. But anyway, rebuilding the piles shouldn't be a problem.